TV is the place to see it happen. It's Garvey Maceo versus Foga Road at 2:30 p.m. and Kingston College versus Charlie Smith at 5 p.m. And it's live and exclusive on CVM TV.
Be crowned the back-to-school champion parent with a Sagicor Bank unsecured loan.
The time by Sagicor Bank is...
Tonight in CVM News at 7, election recounts to extend into the weekend. PSOJ says closeness of election is good for democracy. PNP supporter gunned down in Lucy during election dispute. Concerns linger as schools reopen. And in sports, Reggae Boys down Bermuda in World Cup qualifiers. Hello from Kingston, Jamaica. This is CVM News at 7 for Friday, September 5, 2025. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Curlin Brown. Well, the final count of ballots in the September 3 general elections has been completed in 7 of the 63 constituencies at the end of the second day of counting. However, the Electoral Office of Jamaica, the EOJ, says the final count will continue into the weekend. Both major political parties are closely monitoring the outcome, especially in 2 closely contested seats. CVM's Carla Ramdeen has the latest.
The Electoral Office of Jamaica, EOJ, says the final counting of ballots for the September 3 general election is continuing across the island. In a release, the EOJ noted that up to 3 o'clock this afternoon, 7 constituencies, including St. James Northwestern and West Central, St. Elizabeth Northwestern, Manchester Northwestern and Northeastern, St. Andrew Northeastern and Western, have completed their count. The results remain unchanged from the preliminary tally. The Director of Elections, Glasspool Brown, told CVM News the final count of ballots started yesterday. He notes that the process will continue throughout the weekend until all constituencies are completed.
The final count of the ballots in all the constituencies started yesterday, and the process is continuing. It's anticipated that the process will continue over the weekend until we have completed the count in all 63 constituencies.
Meanwhile, the Jamaica Labour Party is keeping a close watch on several marginal seats. At a press conference on Thursday, Communications Task Force member Kamina Johnson-Smith pointed to St. Mary South Eastern, where Norman Dunn lost to the PNP's Christopher Brown by 11 votes. She also highlighted Portland Eastern, where Anne-Marie Vaz lost to the PNP Isaac Buchanan by 135 votes, and St. James Southern, where Homer Davis lost to the PNP's Nikisha Burchell by 207 votes.
We're quite confident, however, that the 34 seats which the Jamaica Labour Party won, we won them outright, and therefore they are unlikely to shift. And we therefore are in a mode of looking at what can be added as opposed to moving any other direction.
Meanwhile, on X, JLP's Michelle Charles, who lost her seat to former Morant Bay Mayor Yvonne Rosemary Shaw, showed up at the Paul Bogus Square to observe the recount of the St. Thomas Eastern seat, noting that there are 91 more boxes to be recounted. The EOJ reported that approximately 57% of the ballot boxes have already been counted. Carla Ramdeen, CVM News.
And a senior member of the Jamaica Labour Party's Communications Task Force, Marlon Morgan, has sought to remind the public what unfolds on election night is only the preliminary count. He explains the official count begins the following day and can last for up to 3 days. Morgan also notes the recounting process is often intense, as it involves not just electoral officials but also the candidates or their representatives. He says the JLP will be paying close attention to the Kingston Central and St. Mary's Southeastern seats, adding the party is hopeful it could gain additional votes once the ballots are fully recounted.
The official count, or what is called the final count, is what takes place commencing the day after the election, which is what would have been happening since the start of this morning. And as Mr. Glasspool-Brown was indicating just now, that process may take place over a couple of days or 3 days, as many days as are required to complete the process. Now, this is a process that involves the EOJ officials, but of course the representatives of the candidates or the candidates themselves. And this may be a very intense and involved process because, as you may appreciate, a single vote is very important. But the JLP is, as is the case with the PNP, engaged at this time, particularly in respect of the Central Kingston seat and the St. Mary's Southeastern seat. We are engaged in the final count at present. They would have just about been concluding day one with a view to resume tomorrow. So we are hoping to essentially pick up votes based on what the ballots, determine ultimately.
And the Portland Eastern constituency has been the proverbial talk of the town. Despite having a dedicated fan base and an active online presence, the JLP's Anne-Marie Vaz was dethroned by the PNP's Isaac Buchanan in the general elections. Our reporter Kevin Black was in the constituency during the first count.
Time come. Simple. Time come.
I am here in the streets of Port Antonio in the Portland Eastern constituency, where throngs of PNP supporters are out and about in celebration of the perceived victory of the PNP's political candidate for the constituency, Isaac Buchanan. But we talked with him to see how he felt about this perceived victory, and this is what he had to say.
Way before Vibes Cartel, there were persons who I would have freed from an unjust justice system. Our constitution is what won this election. There are people around in Portland Eastern that are disenfranchised. And when you talk about land grab, when you talk about corruption, the people of Portland know that they need to be a part of this society, and that is what caused it. The love of the people of Portland. I live here. I know what it is to suffer under the hand of a regime that don't care about basic human dignity, and that is what this is about. This is not about entertainment and fluff. Our lives in Jamaica is serious, and the change that is necessary is what is happening now.
After visiting several polling stations in the Portland Eastern constituency, we have noticed that there is a low voter turnout this year compared to previous election cycles. Former Member of Parliament Anne-Marie Vaz's supporters seemingly expected a clean sweep prior to the election day results.
It is obvious that Action Ann is doing wonderful work in Portland. Why choose somebody else, and she's here already doing the work. So the roads are fixed. I live in Stonehill. Stonehill don't have water for years. And I'm telling you that we have water in our pipes now.
However, the pendulum of public favor swung towards Buchanan as he reigned victorious. He illustrated how he intends to alleviate the perceived ongoing unemployment issue during his tenure.
Employment in Jamaica is wiping a window for 2 hours a day and spinning around statistics. It is about the quality of employment and the improvement of the quality of life. What we're going to do is ensure that no matter where you are in life as a youth, as long as you're alive, education is the great divider. It is the great escape from poverty, and we're trying to connect people in the informal economy to the formal economy, and we're going to do so through education. We're going to do so through technology and use of the internet.
Buchanan is confident in his administration's ability to serve the people properly of Portland Eastern. Kevin Black reporting for CVM News.
Thank you, Kevin. And persons from different parishes have been expressing disbelief about the outcome in Portland Eastern, registering support for Action Ann. However, long-standing councillor in the Port Antonio division, Dexter Rowland, deems the PNP's Isaac Buchanan deserving of the victory. We go back to Kevin Black for more.
I have come to East Portland and have delivered on every commitment that I've made to the people. They have not seen the kind of development in this parish in the last 6 years.
In the aftermath of the general elections, people island-wide are expressing their disappointment at the dethroning of the Jamaica Labour Party's JLP Anne-Marie Vaz in Portland Eastern.
Several memes, video commentaries and personal views have been circulating online, resulting in a stir among her supporters. People's National Party PNP representative Isaac Buchanan shocked many as he tallied 8,316 votes, while the Jamaica Labour Party's JLP and Marie Vaz secured 8,181 of the votes, while Tracy and Gillespie Harris managed to secure 29 votes for the Jamaica Progressive Party. CVM News received some observations from a councillor for the Port Antonio division since 1986, Dexter Rowland. He outlined his belief that the PNP's track record on developments like housing and schooling turned the tide of the contest towards them.
Only one housing scheme the GLP has done, and that is Drapers, about 15 homes. We have done 2 in Manchin area, 1 in Long Bay, 2 in Fairhill, 1 in Drapers, 1 in Anchovy, 1 in Fellowship, and the biggest housing development in Portland, Narragansett. We have done all of those. We built many basic schools in Portland, in East Portland, Love Lane, Bournebrook, Manchneel, in the Valley, all over, and we renovated almost every school.
Meanwhile, constituents shared opposing views on who they believe can be of greatest service to the constituency and the issues they currently face.
Why this man jigging and jumping and talking about him breaking ground for this and breaking grounds for that? Why him get so many Barbara Green now, couple days before election? Why he never think about this 2 years ago or even 18 months ago?
We see this lady come and take the seat, not in 4 years, and end up better and what the People's National Party do for this year.
Mrs. Vaz has since released a statement on social media thanking her supporters for their trust in her over the past 6 years. Kevin Black reporting for CVM News.
Please join us for more CVM News at 7 in just a moment.
The Reggae Boys' road to FIFA World Cup qualification intensifies this September. On Tuesday, September 9, the National Stadium comes alive when the Reggae Boys battle arch rivals Trinidad and Tobago starting at 7 p.m. Gates open at 4 p.m. Tickets to VIP $10,000, Grandstand $7,000, Bleachers $2,000. Get yours now at jff.quaped.com. All the way, one team. Presented by the Jamaica Football Federation. Sponsors Adidas, Ray and Nephew, Sunshine Snacks, Water, Powerade, St. Mary's, True Shake, Stewart's, and Just Vet.
Being done if you with them, I gone with them till then sick. Say them.
The defense begins. CVM TV's exclusive coverage of the ISA Schoolboy football season begins September 6 at Stadium Eastfield. The Costa Cup Kingpins Garvey Maceo start their quest for another rural area title. They battle Fogo Road on opening day at 2:30 p.m. And then Manning Cup holders Kingston College lock horns with Charlie Smith at 5 p.m. The path to schoolboy football glory begins here, and CVM TV is the place to see it happen. It's Garvey Maceo versus Fogo Road at 2:30 p.m. and Kingston College versus Charlie Smith at 5 p.m. and it's live and exclusive on CVM TV.
Welcome back to CVM News at 7. Now, as the wait continues for the official count for all the constituencies, most persons are not as anxious as they were on the night when the columns were blank. We revisit Belmont Road. People who seriously follow Jamaica's politics are familiar with the jitters, the highs and the low moments once the voting ends and the ballots are being tallied. At the Jamaica Labour Party headquarters, for example, Supporters like Carrie Ann say there is a strategy to be counted in person.
Going out early to vote, I wanted to be here from early also so I could watch the results on the big screen TV down here at the headquarters.
Defeat was not on their radar.
Well, no, that's not, no, that will never happen because the narratives are the Labour Party has 49 seats, where the PNP is going to get 18 seats to win the general election.
There are talks that you could lose some of your seats.
Yes, there's a possibility, but at the end of the day, we're not going to be losers.
So there was a low voter turnout. Do you think enough people came out?
Well, that's a challenge, yeah, because some persons' votes are not where they're living, yes, so they have to travel.
As the shadows lengthened, the music and the vibes heightened.
After an election, people sort of drift in. They want to see what's happening. They're waiting to hear news that comes in from different seats. People want to talk to people about their experience during the day. So the mood is good.
Even in a politically charged atmosphere, Kamina Johnson-Smith says there are things about Jamaica's democracy we have to celebrate.
Generally, as a democracy, as a country that believes in one man, one vote, and that believes that your politics should not so define and divide that you can't, have more of a carnival-like atmosphere and you can't speak to each other, and that our principals can campaign in the streets and, you don't have to have fiberglass in front of you when you speak. These are things that we have to note that they're positives, but still more to be done. I was saying it to some young people the other day that we don't recognize how the beauty of what we have here.
Above the horns and the ringing of bells, the crowd never lost track of the critical information, which at times made the atmosphere deathly silent.
Well, on the inside, some persons are celebrating. The big bashment is on the outside. Now, can I tell you about that moment when we heard that the Prime Minister was behind? What came to your thoughts? Well, okay, I just say I'm very elated. This is our early birthday gift and the country deserves it.
The party machine went out and did a job. Yeah, we gained a number of very good seats, and we'll analyze them, see how those MPs were. Some were considered to be pretty way down the ladder of success, came up and did well. We lost a couple, but they were close calls, and we'll allow them to, we'll monitor the recount and allow them to, examine what happened there. When you get anything under 100 votes, you have to examine that. So there'll be some, we'll monitor the laws, will go and look at those, see if there's a room for changes. And in the medium term, we'll ensure that the organization review the seats. Right?
It was very, very quiet here when they heard that the Prime Minister was seemingly in danger.
No, he was not really in danger at the time. Not strategic, but he did well. We don't see it.
All the way from Connecticut to come cast my vote. Shower 1 p.m. See there? A medium shower.
But even as sure as some supporters were, they refused to make an outright prediction.
I don't want to jump ahead of how I'm feeling inside with this bubbly feeling, but what I know is the Most Honorable Dr. Andrew Michael Holness will be back instated as the Prime Minister of Jamaica.
Now, in the lead up to the general election, the PNP's Donovan Mitchell signaled his time in local government was coming to an end as he was fully focused on his parliamentary bid in Manchester Central. However, his tone shifted on the day. Well, the seat has so far been declared for the incumbent, the JLP's Rhoda Moy Crawford, for a second term as Member of Parliament. Here's more from Zor Grant.
At the last municipal corporation meeting in Mandeville, Mayor Donovan Mitchell announced it would be his final mayoral sitting as he prepared to contest the Manchester Central seat for the People's National Party. He expressed confidence that victory was certain.
This would ultimately be my final meeting of council because I know I'm going to win.
On another occasion, he went further, declaring that by the night of September 3, Manchester Central would be back in the hands of the PNP.
after the 3rd of September or on the night of the 3rd of September, Central Manchester will have a PNP MP delivering to them quality representation that they're used to.
However, on election day, Mitchell struck a different tone. He told CVM News that should he lose, he would simply return to his mayoral duties, an apparent retreat from the confidence he projected earlier.
If I don't win, I go back to being the mayor of Mandeville.
Meanwhile, the JLP's Rhoda Moy Crawford, an incumbent, stood firmly in her belief she'd retain the seat, despite not securing any of the 4 divisions in her constituency in the local government elections. She spoke to CVM News early election day.
I don't feel pressured at all because I have done the work, and every single where that I go, the support and the love is just overwhelmingly positive. Very confident, extremely confident.
Zogrand reporting for CVM News.
An item of breaking news just in. Incumbent Donovan Williams of the JLP has regained the Kingston Central seat on the final count. Williams posted the news on his social media, and the Director of Elections, Glaspole Brown, also confirmed the development. The final count sees Williams tallying 4,832 votes to Steve McGregor's 4,753, a difference of 79 votes. It now means the JLP has 35 seats to the PNP's 28. McGregor's team say they are contemplating escalating the matter to a magisterial recount. With reports the election season was largely peaceful, there's an appeal for Jamaicans to steer clear of politically motivated attacks. The plea comes after a man was fatally shot in Hanover during an election-related dispute. Amoy Harriet has the details.
What should have been a night of jubilation for party faithfuls in Lucy Hanover Wednesday night was cut short after political tension turned deadly. Police say just before midnight, a People's National Party supporter from Cascade was gunned down following a heated argument with 2 other men over the election results. Reports are that the victim was standing in the township when words escalated to gunfire. The 2 suspects reportedly escaped on a motorcycle. The victim was rushed to hospital but couldn't be saved. The man, Loxley Vassell, more popularly known as Johnny Man, is said to be a loyal supporter of newly elected Member of Parliament Andrea Perkis and a close family friend.
I remember when I got COVID, I stayed home alone for 14 days. And every morning at about 5:30, the same time every morning, he would be outside my window checking on me and ensuring that I'm alive and well.
She admits Johnny Man often had a tendency to use provoking words.
He had a habit. He had a habit, a drug habit that, we all knew about. The community of Cascade knows about it. But he was loved. Whenever he took the drugs, he would get disrespectful, and we've always warned him against that, and also warned him against going into the town of Lucy.
Nah, leave Lucy. Everybody talk to Lucy. All right, if Johnny Man spend 2 days out of 7 days, okay, spend Lucy. Every day gone to Lucy. Yesterday morning he come and he gone back like he yesterday again. He's not here. He not listen.
Now, the incident comes at a time when stakeholders had been praising this election as one of the most peaceful in recent years. Ms. Perkis is appealing to Jamaicans to put an end to politically motivated violence, even as the election season has come to an end.
I have a lot of friends that are on the other side. Some came over and supported me, some didn't. Do I have a problem with the ones that didn't? No. And so we have to first be citizens of Hanover and citizens of Jamaica by extension.
Police, in the meantime, have launched a manhunt for the suspects. Amoy Harriet for CVM News.
To this update now, Indicom's investigation into a case of unlawful wounding involving 2 members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force has ended in mediation. On Monday, September 1, Constable Ricardo Frey agreed to pay $400,000 to a district constable he was accused of unlawfully wounding during an altercation in Papine Square, St. Andrew in December of last year. Frey was brought before the Corporate Area Parish Court on charges of wounding with intent and malicious destruction of property. However, both officers opted for dispute resolution through mediation. Following the successful settlement and confirmation of payment, the Crown offered no evidence and Constable Frey was discharged. Meanwhile, Indicom reports between January 2024 and July this year, 64 police officers have been ruled for charge. More than 40 have already been charged and placed before the courts, with arrests pending in 23 cases. In its latest update on police-related fatalities, Indicom says it is currently probing 214 deaths since the start of 2025. 97 of those fatalities occurred during police-planned operations. Attention is now shifting to the education sector. Schools across the island have fully reopened, but questions are being raised about whether the classrooms are ready, teachers feel supported, and how several issues from last school year will be addressed. Here's Akeem Oret with that report.
With the official start of the 2025-2026 school term, President of the Jamaica Teachers Association, Mark Malava, says the sector continues to face critical challenges. Among them is the migration of teachers. Malava says schools are being left without specialists in several key areas.
Many schools continue to experience a shortage of teachers in critical areas, particularly the STEM areas. That continues to be a major problem for us, and it's going to continue. It's going to be like that for a while until we treat with the attendance issues that are impacting persons being attracted to the profession.
Equitable funding is also a major concern. Malava argues that many schools are operating with limited resources, putting students at a disadvantage.
Many of our schools are plagued with by the fact that they don't have the resources to do the things that are needed in those spaces. Every school comes with its own unique challenges, and there has to be a response, a collective response from the leadership as to how they treated those challenges.
And with technology playing a growing role in the classroom, including the rise of artificial intelligence, he says teachers must be better equipped.
We have placed on our list of claims certain things that will incentivize professional development for teachers. AI would be one of those areas that teachers will have to offer themselves. I know for a fact that there have been a number of workshops treating with that.
He's calling for urgent engagement between the Ministry of Education and the JTA to tackle these pressing issues. Akeem Art, CVM News.
More news after this.
Let's delve deep into the issues. We'll take you beneath the surface.
Greetings and salutations. My name is Orville Higgins, and it's another edition of Fan Central.
Talking to the people at the heart of the top sporting stories. Hear from your favorite sportsmen and women and the administrators who work tirelessly to make it all happen. It's a live sports talk.
I've written an entire article.
Yes.
Looking at all the major issues every Tuesday at 9 p.m. It's Fan Central.
Every dream conquered is another dream game. I land and I fly again like a jet plane. Headed straight in your direction, 'cause I'm wiser, one step closer. I'm winning 'cause I'm wiser.
The defense begins. CVM TV's exclusive coverage of the ISA schoolboy football season begins September 6 at Stadium Eastfield. The Costa Cup kingpins Garvey Maceo start their quest for another rural area title. They battle Fogo Road on opening day at 2:30 p.m. And then Manning Cup holders Kingston College lock horns with Charlie Smith at 5 p.m. The path to schoolboy football glory begins here, and CVM TV is the place to see it happen. It's Garvey Maceo versus Fogo Road at 2:30 p.m. and Kingston College versus Charlie Smith at 5 p.m. And it's live and exclusive on CVM TV.
Crunch your craving with the value menu from KFC with combos starting at just $620. The time by KFC is
7:30.
As we welcome you back, it's time for all regional and international news.
We begin with news in the region. Caribbean Airlines has announced the immediate suspension of all flights to Venezuela for September, citing operational adjustments amid recent regional developments and security concerns. The decision comes at a time of heightened tensions between Venezuela and its neighbors, with military buildups and diplomatic warnings, prompting governments across the region to remain on high alert. More from HGP TV.
Regional carrier Caribbean Airlines has suspended its service to Venezuela for the rest of September 2025. Effective immediately, flights between Trinidad and Caracas will no longer operate for the month. No reason was given for the withdrawal. However, just recently, the United States conducted a deadly military strike against an alleged drug boat tied to the cartel Tren de Agua. It was confirmed on Tuesday by President Donald Trump. The U.S. president stated that 11 people were killed in the strike in international waters.
Massive amounts of drugs coming into our country to kill a lot of people, and everybody fully understands that. In fact, you see it. You see the bags of drugs all over the boat, and they were hit. Obviously, they won't be doing it again, and I think a lot of other people won't be doing it again when they watch that tape.
CNN previously reported that the U.S. military was deploying more than 4,000 Marines and sailors to the waters around Latin America and the Caribbean as part of a ramped-up effort to combat drug cartels.
An intense two-day conference is being held in St. Lucia, where stakeholders aligned with probation and parole across the Caribbean gather to discuss evidence-based practices for sex offender management. More from HTS News Force St. Lucia.
We have seen certain practices that are existing in Jamaica, and they're very good practice. For example, Jamaica has a sex offender registry, but Jamaica may be lacking certain steps that would really give that sex offender registry a more profound existence. But in St. Lucia, we don't have a sex offender registry, but we have the steps that lead to a profound practice. And so we are partnering with Jamaica. We are partnering across the islands to fill in the spots that exist, that are very necessary.
The two-day conference's theme was exploring evidence-based practice for sex offender management and working with gang-involved clients, navigating criminal justice challenges together across borders.
And in international news, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said on Friday thousands of foreign troops could be deployed to his country under post-war security guarantees. But Russian leader Vladimir Putin said Moscow would regard them as legitimate targets to attack. The details from France 24 News.
It took Vladimir Putin a few hours to react to pledges made by the coalition of the willing. According to French President Emmanuel Macron, 26 countries out of the group's 35 have said they would deploy troops by land, sea, or air to help protect Ukraine after a ceasefire or peace is reached. This was the Russian president's response.
So should there be any troops deployed in Ukraine, especially now, in the course of the military action, we would treat them as legitimate targets.
Vladimir Putin said he saw no reason to deploy foreign troops in Ukraine once peace is signed. He also said that if Ukraine is getting security guarantees, then Russia should get some as well. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky hailed pledges made by the coalition, adding that countries can step up their support to Ukraine before a ceasefire is signed.
And that's it for regional and international news.
Ronaldo Adams is waiting with sports. Join him after this.
The Reggae Boys' road to FIFA World Cup qualification intensifies this September. On Tuesday, September 9, the National Stadium comes alive when the Reggae Boys battle arch rivals Trinidad and Tobago starting at 7 p.m. Gates open at 4 p.m. Tickets VIP $10,000, grandstand $7,000, bleachers $2,000. Get yours now at jff.quaped.com. All the way, one team. Presented by the Jamaica Football Federation. Sponsors Adidas, Ray and Nephew, Sunshine Snacks, Water, Powerade, St. Mary's, True Shake, Stewart's, and Just Vet.
Being done if you with them, I gone with them till then sick.
The defense begins. CVM TV's exclusive coverage of the ISA schoolboy football season begins September 6 at Stadium Eastfield. The Costa Cup kingpins Garvey Maceo start their quest for another rural area title. They battle Fogo Road on opening day at 2:30 p.m. And then Manning Cup holders Kingston College lock horns with Charlie Smith at 5 p.m. The path to schoolboy football glory begins here, and CVM TV is the place to see it happen. It's Garvey Maceo versus Fogo Road at 2:30 p.m. and Kingston College versus Charlie Smith at 5 p.m. And it's live and exclusive on CVM TV.
Good evening and welcome to Sports. I am Ronaldo Adams. And we begin this evening's sportscast with a positive note, as Jamaica's Reggae Boys made the perfect start to their final round of World Cup qualifying, dismantling Bermuda 4-0 in Hamilton on Friday night. Captain Damian Lowe led out with the opener before Ronaldo Cephas doubled the lead before halftime. In the second half, Casey Palmer and Shamar Nicholson put the game to bed. The boys could have easily run up the score to 7-0, but the win was still dominant.
Palmer working short. This one bending in. The header was missed. The rebound, ricochet. First shot blocked. Second shot finds some twine. Damian Lowe with a salute for the Jamaican side. And the Reggae Boys are on the board. It's 1-0. We said it in the beginning, it was important for the captains to find a mark to open up this contest. And that was exactly the case as this thing was busted loose. And Lowe was slow playing this a little bit, tracking back, and Dale Eve had no chance on it. Where are your building blocks? How are you developing? How's the club maturing? Possession controlled by Bermuda by a short margin. Cephas, nice move. One quick look. He scores! A Herculean move